Thank you, sir. Thank you, Deputy Chairman, sir, for giving me the permission. Sir, as I look at the discussion today, before that, I'd like to mention that I could probably be the only member of parliament here who does not belong to that area, but has spent 6 years in Northeast, 4 years in Meghalaya, Arunachal and Mizoram, and 2 years in Sikkim. And I have known the culture, the tradition, and of course the developmental imperatives of this region very well. I'm quite happy, sir, about the fact that the budget allocations this year has gone up by 5.34%, and the trajectory has been maintained. There's no gainsaying that. Nobody would deny that the northeast part of India needs to be mainstream, has to be done in every possible manner, through connectivity, through development, through human resource, through infrastructure building. So, but my question is whether this allocation is adequate. Let's see what's happening in the northeast. I refer to the National Multidimensional Poverty Index, which came out of Niti Aayog recently. The National Multidimensional Poverty Index, it covers almost all aspects for an inclusive development, for development of health, hygiene, for development of child and adolescent mortality, for maternal health, schooling, school attendance, almost all aspects. Now, if you look at all these aspects, at least 4 northeastern states, including Assam, figure amongst the top 10 poor states of India. 4 northeastern states, including Assam, figure in the top 10 poor states of India as per this multidimensional poverty index. Assam and Meghalaya are ranked as the 5th in the country in terms of poverty. So there is a lot which requires to be done. The amount of allocation that is being made currently needs to be increased even further. Now let me talk about education. So here I would like to make some suggestions because of the energy in terms of governance, because of the energy in terms of financial resources and the commitment that is being given to the northeastern region by everyone present here. So my suggestion is, like the aspirational districts model which was followed in case of areas which were covered by left-wing extremism, and we have seen that when development has taken place, the left-wing extremism has actually declined in those areas. So if internal security and security of the country is associated with this region, such focused approach in converging various kinds of schemes needs to be adopted in the northeastern region. Second, when I was in Sikkim, I have seen that by natural agricultural practice, they are organic. They don't use chemical fertilizers. They were the first state in the country which had banned plastic from their entire state. Now, in the craze for taking development at a very fast pace, let us remember that Northeast's basic contribution to the society is its diversity, biodiversity, biological diversity, cultural diversity, and all this should not be lost sight of. Therefore, this development has to be a green development. The entire approach towards development in Northeast has to be green development and green infrastructure building, roadways, highways, by using green technology. The next point is relating to the corridors. Unfortunately, despite its positional advantage, we have not been able to take advantage of its positional advantage as far as the Far East is concerned in terms of connectivity, whether it through roadways, through in order to establish people-to-people contact. People-to-people contact is very important even in diplomacy. I think that is one particular area which requires more concentration. Sir, we have
सारे सदस्यों से रिक्वेस्ट किया है, including you all, to keep. सुनिए माननीय सदस्य, प्लीज माननीय सदस्यगण, प्लीज आप सुने इस डिस्कशन को, सुने प्लीज.
I will talk about the health sector. Honorable Member Santanu Sen talked about it in terms of greater detail. But let me talk about access to health. Again, this is the latest report. The latest report says that the northeastern region faces the undeniable burden of infectious diseases, 29%, 29 per 1,000, followed by non-communicable. 1/4 of its population not seeking any medical treatment, thinking it is not serious enough. So Northeast actually faces a different kind of a problem. It actually requires awareness on health fronts and then access to quality health care. So just providing infrastructure will probably not solve the problem for many of the areas, for the people of Northeast. Rakesh ji, my friend, was talking about his interaction there. I can tell you, sir, I have traveled to Arunachal in 1990s and I have traveled there in 2010 to see that the development has indeed taken place. People are getting benefits, but the integration of the people of Northeast with the mainland population of India is yet to take place to the fullest extent. Don't we hear of people, students who come here to Delhi being called names in Delhi itself? So it requires a change in the mindset of people, and therefore culturally we have to do much more to integrate the Northeast into the national mainstream. So lastly, I would like to say that the Northeast Council in its latest report has indicated certain critical areas, and they are road connectivity, rail connectivity, air connectivity, cyber and telecom connectivity, inland waterways and power. But today, when I looked at the Departmental Standing Committee of Home Affairs report on the donor ministry, I was a little surprised that there has been a reduction of 40% in 2022-23 budgetary allocations for northeastern road projects. I feel, I'll repeat this, there is a 40% decline in 2022-23 budget estimates, that is the current budget estimates, compared to the last year. When we are recognizing the fact that infrastructure is important, road infrastructure is important, why this decline? Isn't it creating a situation where we are probably making a lip service to the Northeast? That's the last thing they want. I would also like to say that the Northeastern Handicrafts and Handloom Development Corporation Limited. Handloom and handicrafts are one of the mainstays of their economy, of their rural economy. But what we find here is that in the 2022-23 budget estimates, which is the current year's budget estimates, the allocation is only 9.67 crores compared to 15.33 crores of the last year. So the entire our action should actually follow our words. We should only not live by words, we have to live by action. And if we want that the micro, medium, small sector to grow in the Northeast, which would be the source of employment for those people, I would request the government to consider increasing allocations under the Northeastern Handicrafts and Handloom Development Corporation from the current level of 9.67 crores to at least a reasonable level where people can actually, this entire thing can actually develop in clusters in different areas of the Northeast region. The last point, sir, is the 15th Finance Commission report. The 15th Finance Commission report indicated that 10 hill states, including major areas of Northeast region, are seismic and landslide risks prone. That is very high risk for landslides and seismic activity. And we all know that the lower reaches of Himalayas are very seismic prone. And therefore they had recommended that the NDMF for Seismic and National Disaster Management Fund for seismic and landslide risk reduction programs in 2020-21 with an allocation of 50 crores for all the northeastern states. The Bureau of Indian Standards has developed a seismic map for India, and that includes the northeastern states. I think we have to think about disaster and disaster of huge proportions and therefore build disaster disaster mitigation measures in all our infrastructure activity that is taking place. I have seen the innumerable times the road from Gangtok to Siliguri at NH5, where there is a major hydro irrigation project coming in, the road would cave in and the Border Roads Organization will come and clear the road and make a temporary road. Now this kind of situation is there because this is seismic prone, this is environmentally too fragile. So our development should be responsible, our development should be green, and we should ensure that in this disaster situation, the infrastructure is disaster resilient. Otherwise, the community itself will suffer. The same people for whom we are making it will suffer. Thank you so much.